Hi, this is Zach here with the US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 7th of March. Starting off with the S&P, which is consolidating at the higher levels, which is good news. 50-50 and the floor of that rising trend channel from back in October, the area to watch out for. Below that, we risk having to fill the gap down to 49.70, 49.80. Otherwise, we are looking towards 5200 as the end of month target. Best case scenario target by the end of next month up to 53.40, which is the upper parallel, or a parallel line to the top of that red charting formation that we have there. Sort of a rising wedge, but not quite. Moving along to the Nasdaq, and here still reasonably well behaved given how volatile the constituents there can be. You can see that we've got this rising trend channel there from back in October. The initial resistance here up towards 18,400, and that's the target there, while we remain above recent 17,800 support, as well as that uptrend line from back in October. Like the S&P, we've got a gap to fill potentially down to 17,400, which is also the area of the 50-day moving average, but so far that hasn't been threatened, especially while we're above that uptrend line from October. Moving on to the stocks, and quite a ride with the first one here today, which is Aptorum. Here you can see that we've had a massive move to the upside. The upside taking quite a long time to deliver, actually, to be delivered. We were looking for upside basically back at the end of August, and you can see that that resistance line projection there from back in March finally hit there at around $6.40. Above that, we're looking for obviously a retest of yesterday's spike highs through towards the $15 level, maybe $16 over the next few weeks. But the key here probably is remaining on the right side of that old peak there from May at $9 and then up above $6.40. But obviously the pre-market there showing $7.60, so it looks as though $6.40 will be the level to grapple with. Moving along to Airship AI, and here it's had a decent week, and this is what we were hoping for, breaking neckline resistance around $3, and the ideal situation now is that we stay above the floor of the gap there around the $6 mark on an end of day close basis, so that we can still perhaps get up to the top of that broadening triangle from back in December as high as $13, maybe later this month. The real battleground there will be in the $6 area on Airship. Another situation worth noting at the moment is Carbon Revolution, which sounds quite important, one has to say. Here you can see that we've got this falling trend channel that's been in place basically since November, and shares making an attempt to rally from the floor of that channel there around the $5.60 level, but the key here is actually breaking, snapping out of that negative trend there at the top of that channel there, $24. That's the initial target there over the next week or two. If you're cautious, maybe wait for a clearance of the 50-day moving average at $20 before assuming that the worst is over after that pullback that we had from the November peak. Moving along to Cemtrex, and here you can see that we've got a nice turnaround, i.e. through the 50-day moving average. That is currently around $3.90. We've also hit the top of that wedge formation that we've had there since basically since the summer. But we want to see an end of day close through the $5 mark to give us a potential retest of post-summer resistance around $7 plus later this month. But ideally staying above that 50-day line and the $4 level in the interim. Hippo's currently sporting a great chart, and you'll see that in a second. Here you can see that we've had this U-shaped turnaround, and we're also now above the old August resistance, the initial August resistance there around $17.30. The longer we stay above that, the greater the chance of move to the top of that rising trend channel from back in May as high as $22.50 by the end of this month, or hopefully rather sooner than that. It's been a rocky ride at the next stock. Obviously, Infobird had a great rally, but it seems to be been all given away rather unceremoniously to start the beginning of March. Here you can see that managed to rally basically through the old neckline resistance, $27, and actually made it up to, I suppose, resistance on the way down from back in August through $50. Unfortunately, at the moment, we are grappling or grasping for support managed to gap up off that uptrend line there from back in September at around the $4.80 mark, and the initial target here though would be a return to $8 and the upper parallel of that line over the next few sessions, but still something of a pinball type price action there for Infobird. On to a less volatile situation, we hope, which is coming in the form of Lexaria. Here you can see that we've got this accelerating rally to the upside, heading towards the top of that late September rising trend channel at $5.14, and that's valid while we hold above the late February resistance at $3.45. So it looks pretty well mapped out there for Lexaria at the moment. Revisiting a favorite of ours, which is over the recent past at least, which is Trxade, and here you can see that shares gapping up, hitting the top of the range, which is what we were looking for, around $15.50. Above $15.50, a fresh leg to the upside could be on tap, i.e. hitting that resistance line projection from way back in October 2022. That's currently heading as high as $25, so hoping for that by the end of this month, while we remain above the $15.50 area. Interesting setup coming up next, and it's a stock which is new to us, New Horizon as well. Here we've got a W-shaped turnaround, and holding above the neckline resistance there around $2. The longer we stay above that, the greater the chance of a move to retest the bottom of the gap down that we had back in January at basically at $4, and hopefully that would happen by the end of this month. But the key here, holding that $2 handle. A nice setup here coming up at Solowin Holdings. Here we've the shares have exceeded all our expectations. If you look closely, you can see that initially we were looking for a move to the top of a rising trend channel from back at the beginning of last year. That was around the $7.70 mark, but obviously that's been well exceeded. We've now hit the top of a rising trend channel from January. That's versus $47, and although the pre-market shows us much lower, while we're above the resistance of Tuesday around $24, we could still head back towards retesting $50 on Solowin. Finishing off with less dramatic stuff, but it may accelerate at a later date. We've got Wave Life Sciences with a breakout through the recent resistance around $5.40. Above that, looking for a move to the top of that broadening triangle from back in September, as high as $8 by the end of this month. 50-day moving average rising, and also we're obviously coming off the back of a bear trap rebound from below December support at the $4 mark. But at the moment, above $5.30, looking for a decent move to $8. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.